On today's show, we'll be making spaghetti and meatballs, but not just any meatballs. It's where ground beef meets Italian sausage meets turkey. And they're having a party. You're invited. The first thing you want to do is you want to get your sauce started, because in Italian cooking, there are things and they take a long time to cook, and the longer they cook, the better. I definitely agree. So we're going to get started on our sauce, because the sauce really needs about 2.5 to 3 hours, sometimes even longer, to cook. So I'm going to flavor my sauce with some things that I like, other than just the tomatoes. So I like to use fennel. So I'm gonna get my pot started, at least warming up. And I just like the flavor of fennel. So I'm going to take 1/2 of a fennel and gonna cut that top part off. And don't worry, it's gonna be a great sauce, because we're gonna use an immersion blender and we're gonna blend everything together. So I've taken off the tops and taken off that bottom, and then it doesn't really matter how you cut it, as long as it's just small enough to fit into the pot and get up under the immersion blender. Now, in your grocer, you may see it listed as either fennel or anise. That's A-N-I-S-E, that's right. And then we're gonna put that right into the pot. And just start letting that become a little tender, so it's easier for the blender to cut it up. Now, I also am going to add a few garlic. And this is up to you. You know I'm a garlic lover, so the more the merrier. All right, here we are. And that is perfect for going into the pot. All right, so we got our fennel, and now we have our garlic in there. We're just gonna let those marry together. Now, I'm not gonna add salt and pepper just yet, but in a moment. So let me just break that fennel up there. There we are, we are good, all right? And to that, we are going to add our tomatoes. Now, you can go into your store and get whole tomatoes, whole and peeled tomatoes. You wanna make sure that they are peeled, because the peel usually floats up to the top, and it's not just a very attractive dish, and then you gotta chew the peel second. But if you're going to use absolute fresh tomatoes, then you want to parboil them and peel them before putting them in there. But we're just gonna use regular, ordinary whole tomatoes from the can. Now, I have them right here, and I've started, because we're gonna get our hands dirty here. So you have these whole peeled tomatoes, and you want to crush them. I'm gonna put my hand in down to the bottom, and I'm going to crush, because they will splatter all over the place. So let's just crush some tomatoes. There we go. This is one of the things that the little ones in your house would love to do for you, right? Or you didn't get that diamond ring you wanted. Hey, honey, need some help in the kitchen? So as you can see, some of the seeds are coming up to the top. And if they don't all get crushed, remember, we're going to use an immersion blender, so just do the best you can. I'm really just giving the fennel time to release its fennel juices. Let's check on that. It's looking good. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir. Now I'm going to add, I have, this is about 2 teaspoons of oregano. I'm only going to use maybe just about 1. Not going to use all of it in there. And this is basil. Now I'm only using, that's about a teaspoon. I'm only going to use about a teaspoon because we're going to use fresh basil at the end, okay? So let's just get that stirred in here too. This smells really good. It's extremely aromatic. So if you want to impress some of your friends, throw some of this in a pot and say, hey, come over. I'm going to be making spaghetti, but not just any spaghetti. Now, we're going to pour this right into the pot. There we are. Now, another thing too is another reason, in addition to the flavor, you're going to allow this to cook for that long because it's going to reduce down. The tomatoes are going to all just come down, and it's going to give them this wonderful flavor that you're looking for. And it's not anything like the stuff in the jars in the grocery store. Once you do this, you are not going to go back to that. All right, now, I believe that our fennel is soft enough, and I believe everything is mixed. Before it gets too hot, we are going to use our immersion blender and get that all ready. There we are. Okay, in case hubby didn't come in to squish the tomatoes, now you call him and tell him to stand right there. I am a little mischievous. Okay. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so just make sure that you have your blender off. There we are. Now, we're going to put this back. And remember, for at least 2 hours, it needs to cook. But for it to be as flavorful as it can be, about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. Hey, what the heck? Go ahead, 3.5 hours. Okay, so I'm just turning that back up so it can cook and it'll reduce. All right, now, the next thing we want to do is let's get our pasta out of the way. Now you can follow the package directions for your pasta, or you can try it my way. Here's how I do it.
Here's a quick tip: flavored pasta. To make your flavored pasta, you'll need half a fennel bulb, you'll need 2 cloves of garlic. Add them to a pot of water. Add salt and turmeric. The turmeric adds a higher nutrition level and color. Bring the water to a boil. Once the water is boiling, remove the added ingredients. Add your pasta and cook according to manufacturer's directions. And there you have flavored pasta. It's a quick tip.
Now, wasn't that a great tip? I'm telling you, I just love it. So here we have our pasta, flavored pasta, where I've also added a little bit of the sauce that has cooked down, and I've also added a little bit of the reserved pasta water. Now you always want to reserve some of that water because it's already flavored. So if you have to add any to sort of loosen up the pasta, you're not going to lose flavor. So we're going to leave that alone. Let's take a look at our sauce. Now, you see, I've added one of the bay leaves that we had, so it could also enhance the flavor of this. But I want you to see how it is cooked down. This is what you want. You want it to cook on medium-low temperature, and you want to let it cook for those hours, but that is fabulous. I'm going to do a quick taste test. Ooh, that looks so delicious. And it is. I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll get started on our meatballs. Check out Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee to learn new delicious recipes. Watch as I show you how to use fresh ingredients for healthy eating at every meal. Check your local listings for showtimes. Now we are ready to get started with our meatballs. What we're going to do first is, because this is a step that you don't want to miss, and you want to make sure that these croutons, yes, croutons and meatballs, yes, you want to make sure that they have enough time to absorb the liquid that we are going to put them in. So I have here some flavored croutons, and it's up to you. You can use whatever you'd like, or you can use breadcrumbs. I just like being a little different. Here we go. What did he say about you buying that new dress? That's right. So you want to take out everything on the croutons. That way when he comes home, you can be all lovey-dovey. There we go. All right. So we have all of our croutons crushed. We are going to put them into this bowl. Now, that could be about, I'm going to say about 2 cups. There we are. And then I'm going to take milk and I'm going to pour it over the croutons. Look at that. And what we want is for the croutons to absorb all of the milk, making them nice, soft, and when we add it to the meat mixture, makes a very tender meatball. That's right. All right, so since we have our pan on and it is getting very hot, let's go ahead and do the onion. And we're going to take off this little outside part here. Wonderful. We're going to take off this one. Excellent. All right. And then we are going to go ahead and chop up our onion. Now remember, this is for the meatballs. So we want to make sure we get them small, but we are also going to dice them up even more. They're going to get very soft in the pot. You know what? I think I'm going to switch knives. This is... All right. I like a big knife. There we go. Oh, much better. All right, and then we just chop, 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 chop. There we are. We are going to add the onion to my hot pan. Let's make sure our temperature is where we want. There we are. A scoop. There we are. All right, so we have our onions on and they're getting soft, which is what we want. We are now going to take our meat. Here is our turkey, lurkey, ground turkey. We're not going to use a whole lot of turkey because turkey doesn't have enough fat on it. So that's why we want to try to keep it really moist, and we don't want it to dry out. Here, the first meeting in our meatballs, we have our ground beef. So we're going to add that. And lastly, turkey and ground beef meat, hot Italian sausage. Woo! There we go. It's getting hot in here. So I have here garlic, roasted garlic, and I'm going to just smash that roasted garlic. Now, you can use fresh garlic. If you did, simply put it in the pan to soften it up and take some of the bite out with the onions. But I am going to use my roasted garlic. And you remember, when I use or make my garlic infused oil, I save all of that garlic that I use for things like this. So there we have our roasted, smashed garlic. I'm going to add, remember that leftover teaspoon that we had of oregano? In you go. All right, I am going to add some salt. Just a little, not too much. And I am going to add a little bit of fresh ground pepper. There we are. I'm going to grab some parsley, fresh parsley, and I'm just going to chop it up till perhaps I get about maybe half a cup. All right, and I'm just ripping up these parsley leaves. I'm removing the stems because sometimes the stems can get a little bitter, be a little bitter. You want to save the stems so you could use in your stock. When you're making stock, you can tie it in some of the cheesecloth along with some other ingredients, whole peppercorns and things like that. And that way it'll give you a nice bouquet garni. That is what we call that, bouquet garni. It's a bouquet of fragrant items that we typically use to put in our stock. So just gonna chop all the parsley while that's cooling. All right, so now we will take our parsley and we will add it. There we are. All right, and let's check on our milked croutons. That is very good. Excellent. So we're just going to give it a little bit more time for those that floated to the top to absorb the remainder of that milk. In the meantime, let's go over here and let's start stirring this baby up. All right. You just want to go ahead and start mixing. Now, I'll tell you, it's a little tough stirring this because it doesn't have something to soften it up. That's why you want the milk into the croutons as well as your onions. Let's check on our onions. So that's good for right now. We check on our onions, see how they've cooled. Okay, that's not bad at all. Okay, let's scoop these out. What you don't want to happen is you don't want to have hot onions and then put in your eggs, because eggs are going in here. Because what will happen if something hot gets on the eggs? You will end up with scrambled eggs in your meatballs. And I haven't invented a dish for that one yet. So we are going to add our onions. All right, and we are going to stir a little again with that. Excellent. All right, now we are going to add yet another ingredient. We are going to now add the croutons. Look at that. And remember, they are flavored as well. There we are. If you wanted, you could add red pepper flakes to this for extra kick. Okay, I want to get that all incorporated so that I am certain that these onions are not going to cook my eggs. And then we'll get to making our meatballs. There we are. Let's do our eggs. Let's put that down. Let's see. You want to make sure that they are beaten so that you can incorporate the whites in with the yolks. There we are. Job well done, Chef Renee. Thanks, girl. Okay, so then we're gonna just go ahead and pour it in there. Now, no. Coming. All right. Oh, you know what? This really does smell good. It doesn't look like I want to eat it, but it smells fabulous. Now, this looks as though they are all mixed up. So, I'm only going to use one hand here. And you just want to go ahead. Now, if your mix is too soft, then go ahead and add some more breadcrumbs to it. But I think I'm going to leave these just like this. Leave this one just like this. And I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to make meatballs. Okay, so we are good to go here. All right, so we have a hot pan, and I'm going to add some oil to it. In addition to oil, if you really want to bump the flavor of this up, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you about it. Add butter. But once you add the butter, you must be ready to put your meatballs into the pan. Now, I just was removing some of those little onion bits, but look at this. Bam! Instant meatball. Bam! This is not a job for hubby. Not a job for hubby. He has to do the one where he puts his hands in there and gets all dirty, right? This is the queen's job. There we go. Quick and easy meatballs. Approximately the same size. I can't make any promises. This is what I do when I'm making meatballs for a large group. So quick and easy. In fact, what I do is I make them the evening before and put them on parchment paper, so all I have to do is then just cook them. Another thing that I do as well is I cook them in the oven. So you can take this mixture and you can put it in your oven. Now, while these are cooking, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back to finish up this meal and do, of course, my favorite, eat it. I will see you in a few. Gotta get back to TV duty. Hi, I'm Chef Renee of Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee. And people who know me know that I cook with the freshest ingredients. It's important to use fresh and organic ingredients whenever available. Not only does cooking with fresh ingredients create healthy eating habits, but it also means great tasting food. So join me in shopping locally when you can. All right, so it appears everything is ready. Here are our meatballs, and I want you to see this. Look, they all look like just such uniform little bites waiting for me to just pop it in. Delicious. Look at that. How beautiful and moist. What am I going to do with this one? That's right. Delish. All right. Very, very good. Now, let's get ourselves ready to plate. Let's put some of that pasta right in here. Now, you can do this in the pot, but since I'm just making a single serving here, at least for now, and I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to chop up a little basil to go in there, or tear up a little basil. Let's do that. There we are. You don't have to chop, just rip up some of that stuff. Just tear it like you're ready to tear into that bowl of pasta. All right, so we got our fresh pasta, and let's get some sauce. Now, I put some of the meatballs in here so that they could, one, finish cooking, and two, absorb, soak up some of that sauce. That is what we want. There we are there. I'm gonna just leave that in there. And I'm just gonna toss right here. How beautiful and delicious smelling is that? All right. And you say, why did I do that in that bowl? I'll tell you. Better, I'll show you. Because I like to get my pasta and throw it all over the place. No, I just want to arrange it myself. Look at that. Now you know I'm going to clean that up, right? All right, there. Right. There we go with that. Let's just put that in till I'm ready for the next batch. All right. All right, let's get this cleaned up. Here, we're going to add in, let's see. The meatballs are small enough that you can have about 10. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna put just maybe another one. How about that? And you see these fresh tomatoes here? They have salt and pepper on them just to add a little flavor, a little color. I'm just gonna drop some on the plate. It makes for an excellent presentation and a nice cool bite to go with it. I'm gonna take some of the cheese and let's just grate that right on there. Ooh, baby. Yeah. Woohoo! Those are my excited sounds. And look at what we have created today, right here. Look, I'm so excited. I am not able to get a nice leaf to put on here for you. There we go. You know, I think it needs company. Let's put this right there. Da 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 da. There we are. So we have a wonderful plate of pasta, and I am going to dig right in. Maybe the safest thing to do is to thank my sponsors now. So I'll do that. I want to thank you for joining me here today on Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee. Check us out at www.simplyfreshfoodwithchefrenee.com. Also, you can see this show or any other episode by going to wintv.org. That's wintv.org. I want to thank all of my sponsors for today's show, especially Newgate Farms and Bull Rath, and I will see you next time.
Simply Fresh Food with Chef Renee is sponsored by Newgate Farms, with farms located in Connecticut and New York. Bull Rath Cookware. Check them out online at Bull Rath University. And Red Tail Heart, available online or at your local bookstore.